Open up to page 37. This whole thing takes place right after John straight up forgets the commandment he broke, which is adultery. So John, they ask him to name all 10 commandments from the Bible, and John can't remember the 10th one, so he repeats the same one twice, and he ends up forgetting the only one he committed, which is adultery. So tonight, so what we're going to do is we're going to start back up there. Elizabeth, you're going to start us off on the middle of page 37, and it's unable to restrain her anxiety. You see, I want everybody to find that with me.
Yeah.
Can everybody find that?
Yeah.
Okay, so as always, make sure you read really loud. I know it feels unnatural, but I'm using this audio. So please make sure that you read really loud. Elizabeth, Elizabeth, unable to restrain her anxiety.
Mr. Hale, I do think you are suspecting me somewhat, are you not?
Lady Proctor, I do not judge you. My duty is to add what I may to the godly wisdom of the court. I pray you both good health and good fortune. Good night, sir.
All right, and he goes to leave. And then Elizabeth, with a note of desperation.
I think you must tell him, John.
What's that?
Will you tell him?
I have no witness and cannot prove it, except my word be taken. But I know the children's sickness had naught to do with witchcraft.
Not to do?
They were discovered by Mr. Parris spotting in the woods. They were startled and took sick.
Who told you this?
Abigail Williams.
Abigail?
A.
Abigail Williams said it had not to do with witchcraft.
She told me the day you came, sir.
Why? Why did you keep this?
I never knew until tonight that the world is gone draft with this nonsense.
Nonsense, mister? I have myself examined Tituba, Sarah Good, and numerous others that have confessed to dealing with the devil. They have confessed it.
And why not, if they must hang for denying it? There are them that will swear to anything before they'll hang. Have you never thought of that?
Okay, and really quickly, this is pointed out even better in what we watched yesterday. Remember, what are Tituba's two options when they confront her about performing witchcraft? What are her two choices?
You confess or you get home?
Yeah, you confess or die. So wouldn't you admit to something if it meant you might die? I mean, I don't know if I would start calling out women's names, but ultimately, I get where Tituba's coming from, when those are your only two options. Okay, Hale, it's his own suspicion, but he resists it.
I have indeed. And you? Would you testify to this in court?
I had not reckoned with going into court, but if I must, I will.
Ah, you falter there. I thank you.
I falter nothing, but I may wonder if my story will be credited in such a court. I do wonder on it when a minister is as steady-minded as you will suspicion such a woman that never lied. She cannot lie, and the world knows she cannot. I may falter somewhat, mister. I am no fool.
All right, Proctor and everybody else, remember that you say this about Elizabeth. Elizabeth cannot lie. She doesn't know how. Okay? Hale, quietly, it has impressed him.
Proctor, let you open with me now, for I have heard a thing that troubles me. It's said you hold no belief that there may even be witches in the world. Is that true, sir?
I know not what I have said. I may have said it. I have wondered if there be witches in the world.
Then you do not believe?
I have no knowledge of it. The Bible speaks of witches, and I will not deny them.
And you, woman?
I cannot believe it.
Hale is shocked.
You cannot?
Elizabeth, you bewilder him.
I cannot think the devil may own a woman's soul, Mr. Hale, when she keeps an upright way as I have. I am a good woman, I know it, and if you believe I may do only good work in the world, and yet secretly bound to Satan, then I must tell you, sir, I do not believe it.
But woman, you do believe there are witches in...
If you think that I am one, then I say there are none.
I think that's a really powerful statement on your end. He's like, you must believe the witch. She's like, well, if you think I am one, then no. She's like, that, because that's how good her character is and how good you believe your character to be. All right, Hale.
You surely do not fly against the gospel. The gospel...
She believed in the gospel, every word.
Question Abigail Williams about the gospel, not myself.
She did not mean to doubt the gospel, sir. You cannot think it. This be a Christian house, sir, a Christian house.
God keep you both. Let the third child be quickly baptized, and you go without fail each Sunday into Sabbath prayer, and keep a solemn, quiet way among you, I think.
Enter Giles Corey.
John,
Giles, what's the matter?
they take my wife and Rebecca Nurse.
Mr.
Rebecca,
Nurse enters.
Rebecca's in the jail.
Nurse.
John Cheever, come and take her in his wagon. We've only now come from the jail and they'll not even let us in to see them.
They've surely gone wild now, Mr. Hale.
Reverend Hale, can you not speak to the deputy governor? I'm sure he mistakes these people.
Pray, calm yourself, Mr. Nurse.
My wife is very brick and mortar of the church, Mr. Hale, and Martha Corey, there cannot be a woman closer yet to God than Martha.
Hale, incredulous.
How is Rebecca charged, Mr. Nurse?
For murder, she charged for the marvelous and supernatural murder of Goody Putin's babies. What am I to do, Mr. Hale?
Believe me, sir, if Rebecca Nurse be tainted, then nothing's left to stop the whole green world from burning. Let you rest upon the justice of the court. The court will send her home, I know it.
You cannot mean she will be tried in court.
How may such a woman murder children?
Ma'am, remember, until an hour before the devil fell, God thought him beautiful in heaven.
Okay, really quick, this is a turning point for Hale, the fact that Rebecca Nurse is charged. Because Rebecca Nurse, he doesn't even need to know her name. He meets her, and based on the way he feels about her presence, he just assumes that's who she is. That's how good she is, right? She's known for her great charity. She is good with children, things like that. So please keep in mind, this is Hale's tipping point. Now he's really starting to doubt this. All right, continue onward.
I never said my wife were a witch, Mr. Hale. I only said she were reading books.
Oh, there was that time that you said that when your wife reads books, you can't pray, and you accidentally made your own wife a witch. I don't know if you remember that or not.
Mr. Corey, exactly what complaint were made on your wife?
That bloody mongrel Walcott charged her. You see, he buy a pig of my wife 4 or 5 years ago, and the pig died soon after. So he come dancing in for his money back. So my Martha, she said to him, Walcott, if you haven't the wit to feed a pig properly, you'll not live to own many, she says. Now he goes to court and claims that from that day to this, he cannot keep a pig alive for more than 4 weeks because my Martha bewitched them with her books.
Enter Ezekiel Cheever.
Good evening. Good evening to you, John Proctor.
Can you read a little louder, Grant?
Yeah.
Willard enters as well and goes to just inside the door.
Why, Mr. Cheever, good evening.
Good evening, all. Good evening, Mr. Hale.
I hope you come not on business of the court.
I do, Proctor. Hey, I'm a clerk of the court now. No.
Giles? Giles Corey, page 40.
It's a pity, Ezekiel, that an honest tailor might have gone to heaven, must burn in hell. You'll burn for this, do you know it?
You know yourself I must do as I'm told. You surely know that, Giles, and I'd ask, life, you'd not be sending me to hell. I like not the sound of it, I tell you. I like not the sound of it. Now believe me, Proctor, I'll have you be the law, and it's stonage I do carry on my back tonight.
He takes a warrant from his pocket.
I have a warrant for your wife.
All right, Cheever, you're basically like a deputy cop, okay? So you've been sent to their house with a warrant. You have to arrest Elizabeth. It is what it is. All right, Proctor,
What say you? A warrant for my wife?
he says to Hale.
You said you were not charged.
Hale is super confused.
I know nothing of it.
To Cheever.
When was she charged?
Cheever.
I'm given 16 warrant tonight, sir, and she is one.
Who charged?
Okay.
Who charged her?
Why, Abigail Williams charged her.
That's shocking. Just shocking.
Abigail Williams, on what proof? What proof?
Mr. Proctor, I have little time. The court bid me search your house, but I like not to search your house. So will you hand me any poppets that your wife may keep here?
And just a really quick reminder, Mary Warren gave Elizabeth a small doll, also known as a poppet, when she came home from the court that night. And so they do have a poppet in the home. It was a gift from Mary Warren. All right, Proctor.
Poppets?
I never kept no poppets, not since I were a girl.
I spy a poppet, Goody Proctor.
Elizabeth goes and gets the doll.
Oh, why this is Mary's.
Would you please give it to me?
Elizabeth hands doll to Cheever.
Has the court discovered a Texan poppets now?
Cheever carefully holds doll.
Do you keep any others in this house?
No, nor this one either till tonight. What signifies a poppet?
Why, a poppet may signify now a woman. Will you please come with me?
She will not.
To Elizabeth.
Fetch Mary here.
Cheever.
No, I am forbidden to leave her from my sight.
You'll leave her out of sight and out of mind, Mr. Fetch Mary Elizabeth.
Cheever turns doll over in hands.
What signifies a poppet?
Oh.
Mr. Cheever.
Cheever turns doll over in hands.
Why, they say it may signify that she,
He has lifted the doll's skirt. His eyes widen in astonished fear.
why this,
What's there?
why,
He draws a long needle from the doll.
it is a needle. Willard, it is a needle.
And what signifies a needle?
Why, this go hard with her, Proctor. I had my doubts, Proctor. I had my doubts, but here's calamity.
Crosses tail, shows tail needle.
You see it, sir. It is a needle.
Why? What meaning has it?
And Cheever's gonna tell us what Abby just did.
The girl, the Williams girl, Abigail Williams, sir. She sat to dinner in Reverend Paris's house tonight without word nor warning. She falls to the floor like a struck beast, he says, and a scream that a bull would weep to hear. And he goes to save her and stuck 2 inches in the flesh of her belly, and he drew a needle out and demanded of her how she come to be so stabbed. She
To Proctor.
testified it were your wife's familiar spirit pushed within.
Why, she done it herself. I hope you're not taking this for proof, Mr. Hale.
Alright, so, Claire, your
Somebody
character.
just killed me?
No, you're still alive. You're not dead. But you gotta sit down for dinner tonight and you fall over in pain, and when they check you out, you've taken a needle and stabbed yourself in the stomach with it.
Why did I do that?
Well, who do you claim did it?
Reverend Paris.
No. Mm-mm.
But he's the one who stabbed me.
Elizabeth.
And demanding of how she comes so stabbed, he says to Proctor, she testified it was your wife's familiar spirit. So you stabbed yourself in the stomach and then blame his wife for doing it.
Blame who?
Well, it's John Proctor's wife. They blame you.
So am I in trouble?
Wait, isn't she the one who cheated? She was the one who took my husband.
No.
No.
You're not married to John.
This happened on a Scooby.
Wait, am I the one who cheated?
With John. Elizabeth is his wife. Elizabeth is his wife, has been his wife this whole time. You are the 17-year-old girl he cheated on her with.
Wait, is Abigail and Abby Williams the same
Yes.
person?
Yeah, this happened in a Scooby-Doo movie one time.
Did it?
Like, it was one of those dolls, and when he stabbed the doll, someone else got stabbed.
Yeah, well, and wait until you see who saw Mary Warren making this doll.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
I bet it was Abby.
I think you got a good guess there.
I'm so lost.
Okay,
I don't even know.
no, it's okay. So, literally, they come to your house, and they're investigating you. They say, there's a doll in your house that has a needle inside of it. And you're like, I don't keep dolls. But it just so happens you got a doll that night.
And so it's like a doppelganger?
Like
Oh,
a
wait.
voodoo doll.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah. And so you have a doll in your house even though you say you don't keep them, okay? But
I thought I don't lie.
you don't. You don't keep dolls, but Mary Warren brought you one tonight.
And it's
that
a
know
voodoo
about
doll, so I got
she
stabbed
gives it
and
to you, but you're
sold to the
confused, you
doll.
put it on your like mantle or whatever. And then they come in, they're like, do you have any poppets? And you literally just got this thing. So you don't remember that you have it, and two, you haven't kept a poppet or a small doll since you were a child because we stopped playing with dolls when we were kids, right? And so they come and they ask you, are there any dolls in this house? And you're like, nah. And then they're like, but we see one. And she's like, oh, that's Mary's. Because Mary was the one that made it. And so they go and investigate it and they find a needle inside of it. Well, it just so happens that Abby Williams was stabbed with a needle tonight. So they're trying to play
Why did you do that?
Because she doesn't like
She
Elizabeth
wants-
because she's trying to get John Proctor.
Yeah.
John Proctor.
She needs to get you.
So she just killed herself?
No, she just stabbed herself with a needle. You can't die from stabbing yourself with a needle. But you literally are just trying to get her out of the way so that you can marry John.
It's not happening.
Well, we'll see. All right, so let's finish up this scene a little bit and see if it helps clarify some of the information. So Proctor, you say why she done it herself. So Proctor, of course, as the man of reason, literally says, well, Abby definitely just stabbed herself, and Cheever says,
It's hard proof. I find here a puppet. Gibby Proctor keep. I found it, sir, and in the belly of a puppet a needle stuck. I tell you true, Proctor, I never wanted to see such proof of hell. And I bid you strike me. Not for I.
now Elizabeth and Mary enter the room. So Elizabeth went and got Mary, okay? Proctor.
Here now, Mary, how did this poppet come into my house?
What poppet's that, sir?
This poppet.
The one you made for my wife. Mary looks at, huh?
Do I want? Who's starting on? Abby's or Elizabeth?
We'll see. All right.
Okay.
Mary looks at it and evasively says,
Why, I think it is mine.
Proctor, a threat.
It is your poppet, is it not?
It is, sir.
And how did it come into this house?
Why, I made it in the court, sir, and gave it to Goody Proctor tonight.
Now,
Proctor to Hale.
now, sir, do you have it?
Mary Warren, a needle has been found inside this poppet.
Why, I meant no harm by it, sir.
You stuck that needle in yourself.
I believe I did, sir.
Proctor to Hale.
What say you now?
All right, really quickly, for those of you that may not sew or don't sew often, so imagine Reggie here, my hedgehog, is a doll. Okay? I'm sewing, I finish up. You don't just like throw a needle, because they can hurt somebody, right? And so you have to store it somewhere. Well, we're gonna find out somebody saw her do that and decides to take advantage of it. Okay? But that's all that happens.
How does it do any harm to Abigail though?
So
You
Mary,
didn't.
so Mary didn't do that on purpose.
No, Mary Warren
Okay.
is completely oblivious. Mary Warren's she's a bit oblivious to like everything. You are a follower, not a leader. Okay? So you're just like, I'm just around. Alright. So of course she owns up to it. She says, I stored the needle inside of it for safekeeping. And then Hale's gonna literally question that. He's like, are you sure this is your memory? Are you sure you remember doing that? So, Hale, still kindly endeavoring to get at the truth.
Child, you are certain this be your natural memory? May it be perhaps that someone conjures you even now to say this?
Conjures me? Why no, sir. I am entirely myself, I think. Let you ask Susanna Walcott. She saw me sewing it in the court. Ask Abby. Abby sat beside me when I made it.
There we go. So you sat next to Mary Warren as she made this doll. You watched her store the needle in it for safekeeping and decided to go home and stab yourself with a needle. And then blame it on Elizabeth. You are tricksy. All right. Proctor to Hale of Cheever.
Bid him be gone. Mister, your mind is surely settled now. Bid him out, mister.
Elizabeth bewildered.
What signifies a needle?
Hale.
Mary, you charge a cold and cruel murder on Abigail.
Murder? I charge no.
I think they're very much exaggerating language here. You cannot murder somebody with like a sewing needle.
You don't know that.
What if they put it in her neck?
It's still the pinhole's too small.
Just fine.
Alright, murder, I charge no, Hale, Abby, or Hale says Abigail.
Abigail were stabbed tonight. A needle were found stuck into her belly.
And she charges me.
Aye.
Why? The girl was murdered. She must be ripped out of the world.
That's probably the worst thing you could have said. Cheever.
You've heard that, sir. Ripped out of the world. Willard, you heard it.
Proctor suddenly snatches the warrant out of Cheever's hands.
Out with you.
Proctor, you dare not touch the warrant.
Proctor rips the warrant.
Out with you.
You've ripped the deputy governor's warrant, man.
Damn the deputy governor out of my house.
Now, Proctor,
Proctor to Hale.
Get ye gone with them. You are a broken minister.
Hale.
Proctor, if she is innocent, the
Right.
court.
And I love your next statement here because the language he uses is really interesting. He says, if she is innocent. Well, that implies that everybody is guilty until proven innocent, versus now where it's everybody's innocent until proven guilty. So Abby just claiming that Elizabeth over here is a witch is enough for her to be guilty of witchcraft. Okay? Proctor.
If she is innocent, why do you never wonder if Paris be innocent or Abigail? Is the accuser always holy now? Were they born this morning as clean as God's fingers? I'll tell you what's walking Salem.
Vengeance.
Wait, we have a problem.
Ruh-roh. Isn't your computer dying?
I don't know.
Well, it's had the orange light of doom for a while now.
That's what that means.
Yeah.
I think
Here, I'll let you use my iPad. Because it'll be quicker to have you do it that way.
Does the doll look like Abby?
Nope.
Oh. Because I'm just gonna do it.
Or what, like page 42?
Yeah, right at the bottom.
Thank you.
I've never watched Scooby-Doo.
I've never
green
I
shirt,
got
right?
your stuff.
I remember that.
You know what episode I'm talking about?
It's just like shit.
What you said? What?
Alright, we're at the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Alright, continue onward.
were they born this morning as clean as God's fingers? I'll tell you what's walking Salem. Vengeance is walking Salem. We are what we always were in Salem, but now the little crazy children are jangling the keys of the kingdom, and common vengeance writes the law. This warrants vengeance. I will not give my wife to vengeance.
And once again, you have to be reminded, the only people that know of this affair are Abby, John, Elizabeth, and the girls. Hale does not know Abby's true intentions here. Okay? Elizabeth.
I'll go, John.
You will not go.
He gets his gun and points it at Cheever. Did you have a question, Claudia?
Why doesn't anyone just tell them about the affair so Abigail
Well,
is
because-
proven guilty or something?
Well, okay, there's that. It's. Would you want to run around and tell people you had an affair?
No.
No. And John is very ashamed, and so he doesn't.
Why is Elizabeth?
Elizabeth's ashamed too. Because it happened. Like, it's a sin, and it looks really bad. And so you don't want to tell people that your husband cheated on you. John doesn't want to tell people that he cheated on you with her. And Abby.
Abby's in the win though, like right now.
Yeah, Abby's
But
winning.
everyone's believing her.
Yeah.
So I'd give it my reputation to take on hers.
Okay. Well, you'll get your wish, because eventually this affair has to come out, right?
Right.
By the end of our play, the affair has to be made known. So ultimately, get rid of you.
So is John like on Elizabeth's side?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Willard. That's brief.
John, I have 9 men outside. You cannot keep her. The law binds me, John. I cannot budge.
You will see her taken.
Proctor, the court is just.
Pontius Pilate.
Pontius Pilate, God will not let you wash your hands of this.
Elizabeth.
John,
She presses the rifle down.
I think I must go with them.
She takes off her apron and hands it to Mary.
Mary, there is bread enough for the morning. You will bake it in the afternoon. Help Mr. Proctor as you were his daughter. You owe me that, and much more.
She takes Proctor's hand and says to Proctor,
When the children wake, speak nothing to witchcraft. It will frighten them.
John takes her hands.
I will bring you home. I will bring you soon.
Oh, John, bring me soon.
I will fall like an ocean on the court. Fear nothing, Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
I will fear nothing.
She takes a shawl from the washstand and puts it on, and then crosses to Cheever and Willard, who exit.
Tell the children I have gone to visit someone sick.
She breaks off, goes out. Hale sits at the bench with his head bowed. After 4 seconds, we hear chains. Proctor runs off of the stage.
Willard, don't chain her. Damn you, man. You will not chain her.
Outside.
Off with them. I will not have it. I will not have her chained.
Other men's voices against his. Corey calls to Hale.
And yet silent, minister? It is fraud, you know, it is fraud. What keeps you, man?
Proctor is thrown into the room by 2 guards, who's followed by Willard. Guards exit after Proctor pulls away.
I'll pay you, Willard. I will surely pay you.
He sits on the bench with his head in his hands. Willard.
In God's name, John, I cannot help myself. I must chain them all. Now let you keep inside this house till I'm gone.
To Hale.
What?
There's one more line.
There's? Oh, man, are you blind?
Hale.
Mr. Proctor.
Proctor. He's weeping. His heart presses his words.
Out of my sight.
Hale pleads with John.
Charity, Proctor, charity. What have I heard in her favor? I will not fear to testify in court. God help me. I cannot judge her guilty nor innocent. I know not. Only this consider, the world goes mad, and it profit nothing. You should lay the cause to the vengeance of a little girl.
First of all, I would like to point out, I would never refer to anybody in this room as little, okay? Like, Abby is 17. But they talk about her like she's like 6. She's a little girl. She doesn't know what she's doing. No, Abby is fully aware as to what she is doing. Proctor.
You are a coward. Though you be ordained in God's own tears, you are a coward now.
Hale is shaken, greatly disturbed, and trying to convince himself. So, Hale, you're going to talk for a minute. I want to talk about something you say here. So, get this out, and then we'll talk about it.
Proctor, I cannot think God be provoked so grandly by such a petty cause. The jails are packed, our greatest judge sit in Salem now, and hangings promised. Man, we must look to cause proportionate, where their murder done perhaps, and never brought to light. Abomination, some secret blasphemy that stinks to heaven. Think no cause, man, and let you help me to discover it. For there's your way, believe it. There's your only way when such confusion strikes upon the world.
All right, really quickly. So this line here is the foreshadowing piece that tells us that this affair between John and Abby eventually has to come to light. He's like, is there not some secret blasphemy that stinks to high heaven? Okay, or an abomination. So these 2 things happen here that tell us that eventually this affair between John and Abby is going to come to light. We're going to get a reason as to why he doesn't just say it here in like a minute. Okay? All right. Continue onward.
Let you console among yourselves. Think on our village and what may have drowned from heaven such thundering wrath upon you all. I shall pray God open up our eyes.
Hale goes out stage right.
I never heard no murder done in Salem.
Leave me, Francis, leave me.
Nurse leaves.
John, tell me, are we lost?
Go home now, Giles. We'll speak on it tomorrow.
Let you think on it. We'll come early, eh?
Hey, go now, Giles.
So Francis, Nurse, John, and Giles are all going to go to the court tomorrow because all of their wives have been arrested. Okay?
Was I arrested?
Yes, you've been arrested. You've been chained up in a wagon outside and you are being taken to the jail.
Because I was accused of.
Because she stabbed herself with a needle and accused you of doing it. Yep.
Okay.
Mary.
Mr. Proctor, very likely they'll let her come home once they're given proper evidence.
You're coming to the court with me, Mary. You will tell it in the court.
I cannot charge murder on Abigail.
Remember, you are the sheep. You are the weakest one. You are the weakest link in this group. Okay? So he's like, you're coming with me to tell the truth. Alright, Proctor.
You will tell the court how that puppet come here and who stuck the needle in it.
She'll kill me for saying that. Abby will charge
Lechery.
lechery on you, Mr. Proctor.
Alright, and there's the piece. So John is willing to kind of like fight for this, but then he says like, we're gonna take care of this, and Mary's like, she's gonna charge you with lechery. Now for some of you that don't know, lechery is basically to like lust after someone. So she's gonna say that John was the one that initiated their affair, and that she was not a willing participant initially. That he convinced her to sleep with him. Okay?
Is that true?
No, it's not. Nothing Abby believes is true. So now we've got this issue, right? So John had this affair with Abby. If he says it's true and owns up to it, Abby's gonna say that he basically like convinced her to sleep with him. Okay? And then Proctor is gonna be surprised because he doesn't realize that the girls know. So Proctor stops.
She's told you?
I've known it, sir. She'll ruin you with it.
Right.
I know she will.
Proctor advances upon her.
Good. Then her saintliness is done with. We will slide together into our pit. You will tell the court what you know.
I cannot. They'll turn on me.
Right, remember, what's more terrifying than one teenage girl? A group of teenage girls. Alright, Proctor.
My wife will never die for me. I will bring your guts into your mouth, but that goodness will not die for me.
I cannot do it. I cannot.
Make your peace with it. Now hell and heaven grapple on our backs, and all our old pretense is ripped away. Make your peace.
He throws her to the floor.
I cannot.
Peace. It is a providence, and no great change. We are what we always were, but naked now. I naked. In the wind, God's icy wind will blow.
And the curtain falls.